All right, welcome back to another van tour with Christina and Daniel. This one is a really cool one. We did a blue Ford Transit Connect. In this video, we're going to be covering in depth the electrical system, how we're able to run a coffee maker, a small microwave, a electric kettle, and also we're going to cover in depth the plumbing and how we can fit 14 gallons worth of fresh water in this small micro camper. But first, hop inside and take a look around. So as you can see, we have a similar layout as the other van builds with the mini farmhouse sink, a few different colors on this one. In the back here, we have some switches for the plumbing and some lights. But first, we're gonna dive into the electrical cabinet, which is located right there. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we're gonna be covering in depth the electrical, how to use it, how to maintain it, how to even troubleshoot it if there's ever any problems. So first, to get a good view of the electrical, the first thing I'm gonna do is actually remove this drawer. Inside of here, this drawer is built specifically for this portable stovetop. And then I'm gonna use these little tabs right here to remove this drawer. Move over. It's a really nice tight fit. Get that out of the way. And then we're gonna open this up right here. So my goal is to break this down in a simple way and then also to be able to understand the system the best you can. So the main thing right here at the bottom is going to be a battery. This is a 100 amp hour lithium battery. We go with lithium because of its high capacity, being able to discharge it very deeply, unlike lead acid. The high amperage that you can pull from it, and then it's also efficient. It recharges very quickly. Right here, this switch, you're gonna have a main disconnect. So pressing that release disconnects the system, and then reconnecting it with that lever reconnects the whole system. This main disconnect will disconnect the power to the whole system, which runs off of this battery. So it cuts the power from the battery to the whole system. On top of the battery, you're gonna see an inverter. This is a 1,500 watt inverter. This can handle a coffee maker, a small toaster oven or microwave, an electric kettle, anything that is essentially under 1,500 watts. The inverter actually has the on and off switch right here, and then the outlet. So the on and off switch is so that you can turn on the inverter and then you have power at the outlets. You want to turn it on and then turn it off when you're done using it because the inverter does use a little bit of power when it's in standby mode. Since we're talking about the outlet, one feature that we have is the shore power hookup. And when you plug in the shore power from the back corner, it turns these outlets into outlets that are powered off of the shore power. Once the power is hooked up as well, the lithium battery, as we mentioned, also starts to charge at 10 amps. So looking at the system from this side right here, we have two disconnects right here. The very first one handles the alternator charging. And if you disconnect that, it shuts off the alternator charging. It disconnects the wire from the car battery. The second one is a solar disconnect. So if you want to disconnect the solar panel, whether you're doing maintenance or anything like that, you can disconnect it that way. And as you can see, you can reconnect these systems the same way as the main shutoff. One of the few things in this cabinet that we're really going to be using is mainly just this alternator disconnect. And the reason why this is easily accessible right here is because this lithium battery, if you may or may not know, lithium doesn't like to charge when it's in under degree freezing. So as a matter of fact, if you try to charge a lithium at high current, when it's colder than 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it can actually permanently damage the battery. It doesn't like charging when it's cold. So because of that reason, we actually built in a heat pad right over here. So this little heat pad right there, when you turn that on, it uses about half of an amp, and that actually heats up this lithium battery so that it can stay above freezing when you're in very cold temperature. So for example, if you're in a very cold temperature and the car has been cold, it's been sitting for a long time, if you turn on that heat pad beforehand, let the battery warm up for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, then you can go ahead and start driving, get that alternator charging. Otherwise, if you're just driving and it's maybe a daily driver for you, you can actually just disconnect your alternator charging so that you don't have to worry about cold temperature charging, or you just can be disconnected since you're not necessarily using the camper in that moment. Down here is a Renogy DC to DC MPPT 30 amp charger. So this handles your solar and your alternator charging. The blue light shows that it's lithium. The second light that has a battery emblem, it'll be green when the battery is 100% full, and then yellow when the battery is in good mode, and then red if the battery is deeply discharged. The red right there for the solar panel is showing that we're charging from the solar, and then when the car is running, that alternator light turns on as well. This right here is a 15 amp transfer switch that transfers the power from the inverter to the shore power when you're hooked up. It does that automatically. And then the last thing that we may or may not use once in a while is this fuse box. So right here you have a screw to take off this lid. And then once you pop the lid off, you're gonna see every single fuse is labeled for the specific circuit or item that it's powering. So take, for example, the fridge right here. If something happens with the fridge and it malfunctions, this is the first line of protection where the fuse will actually break. So just a little thing right here, just to show you in case you don't know, this right here is a blade fuse. And then inside of it, you will see this wire, and you'll know that the fuse has gone bad if the wire is broken right in there. So those blade fuses are rated for a certain amperage to protect your devices in case of a malfunction. So the main thing you'll be using on a regular basis is this right here, and then along with your light switch right here. So for this one, for example, we have a touch light switch. As you can see, touch it to turn it on, and then it also has a dimming function right there. So you can tap it or slide your finger. So that's off, that's on. And then down here we have USB ports. You have a 12-volt socket. You have the outlet, the inverter switch, and then the battery meter. So as we mentioned, you press and hold the inverter, that's gonna turn on. It usually has even a light to show that it's on, and then you have power to your outlets. When you're done using it, you can turn it off, and then that saves power. And then down here, we're gonna mention a couple things about the meter that we use. We have the first button, which shows your voltage. Anything around 13.0 to 13.5 is fairly regular for lithium. And then right here, you're gonna have the actual amperage that you're using or producing, and then your total amperage for the battery. So right now we have 72 out of that 100 for the lithium that we have. And then the last one, which is the easy one to read, and you can just leave it on that one, is your percentage. That shows you your percentage of the battery capacity. And then down here, as we mentioned, we have a battery heat pad, which is that right there. And then this one is for the heat pad for the tanks in the floor. This is a temperature regulated heat pad, and that is actually gonna keep your water from freezing in very cold temperatures. We're gonna get right back to that when we talk about plumbing. The last few things regarding electrical is a few switches back here. So this is your water pump. When you turn it on, it builds up pressure, and then your faucet is on standby. I like to turn that off when I'm traveling or driving for a long time, and actually to relieve the pressure from the system. This right here is the exterior lights, and then this one right here is a dump valve for the gray water tank. So we're gonna transition into the plumbing, and we're gonna start right here at the sink. So this faucet, we like to put a faucet that has a really nice long hose that you can pull out and use it outside to wash off your bike, your dog, or even take a shower with it. It has the function with the sprayer, so you can do that for that. When you're pushing the hose back in there, you might need to help it from the inside of the sink right here. So this is that hose right here. You want to be able to have that freely able to move around. You can store things in here, but just have enough room for this hose to go in and out of here. You have the sink, and then underneath the sink, tucked deep in here, is actually a filter that filters all the water coming out of the faucet. So this filter is meant to last up to a year, and I'm gonna show you how to replace it if you ever do need to. So get a little bit of napkin or a paper towel and under here, and then you just twist it, pull it out, and then it's gonna come out just like this. And then this is the filter that filters all the water coming to the faucet. I like to pre-filter the water when I fill the tanks, but then this filter also filters it again. This filter is great for drinking and removing any odors from the water. The lifetime of the filter is 12 months and 11,000 gallons. So this is gonna last a good long time. So now about the water tanks, we have a 2.5 gallon gray water tank. I know that's not a lot, but that's why we put an electric valve to be able to dump it on a regular basis. Since we only have a sink, we're not using a whole lot of water, so it doesn't fill up actually very fast at all. So you have the dump valve right here. When it's on, it's open. So when it's on, it's dumping, and then when you turn it off, it shuts down. Now let's go to the passenger side door and show you where we fill up the water tank. So from the side door, you're gonna have a port right here where you can fill up your tanks that are built into the floor with a hose. We like to supply you with a Hose RV water filter, and you put that right into there first. And then the expandable hose will supply you with one as well that has a nice shut off right here. So once you connect this to your house, you have the valve shut off, and then you connect your filter, and then right here, just gonna twist this guy right there. And then when it's nice and firm, you're gonna slowly start to release the pressure and let the water flow into the tanks. This button right here is actually gonna show you the level of the water right here. So it's showing approximately half. And then when the meter shows it's full, you'll also know it's full from the water that's trickling underneath the van, and that's from the overfill port. Once we're done, you just shut this back off, disconnect your hose, and then you can turn off the switch. So built into the floor, as I mentioned, we have 14 gallons worth of fresh water storage. That's actually 2 7-gallon tanks that are connected in parallel, and through the access panel that's built into the floor, you would have access to the 2 tanks and the water pump and the accumulating tank. The tanks also have a temperature regulating heat pad underneath it to keep it from freezing. Since we're here, we're gonna show you the shore power hookup. Right here, we have a regular extension cord. And when I say regular, I just mean a regular house extension cord like that. So if we take our regular extension cord and come to the back corner of the car, right over here, we have a plug. It looks a little weird because it's the opposite of what you normally see, but that's fine. This part of the extension cord you plug into your house, and then the other part you plug in right here. Like I mentioned, when you have that plugged in, your house battery starts to charge, and then the outlet that you have on the cabinet automatically transfers over to power from the shore power. On top of the van, you're gonna see a 160 watt solar panel, or in other cases, a 100 watt solar panel. The solar panel is great for charging your house battery when you're camping somewhere and you're not driving for a long time. This keeps your battery topped off, or actually is your main source of power when you're boondocking. And then of course, right behind it, you have your rooftop fan. Thank you for watching. I hope I covered all the electrical and plumbing components. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And if you want to build with Small Vans Big World, go to our website, smallvansbigworld.com. Send us an email or go to the Let's Build tab and fill out the form submission to build a van with us. Again, thanks for watching. Give us a like, subscribe, share this video, and we'll see you on the next one.